So my name is Sean Bautista, and this is my EECS 1021 major project. So as you can see in the terminal window, we are given three options. We will start off with the piano mode. So you can change the note by turning this potentiometer, and then you can increase its octave by pressing on the button. And if you want to decrease the octave, you turn the potentiometer completely clockwise and then you press the button. And if you want to stop the program, you hold down the button and you tap the sound sensor. And then to access the menu again, you type in any key, and then we will go with musical ear next. So the answer would be D4. Normally it wouldn't show that, but to expedite the process, I built this into it. So if the user gets it right, it shows correct. If not, the note keeps playing until the user gets it. It's meant to help their musical ear. And finally, we'll go to listen. So listen would play a song. And you can scroll through the song by rotating this potentiometer. And if you want to stop the program, you hold down the button and tap on the sound sensor, and it stopped. That is my major project. So we'll now be exploring the code of my major project. So here I imported Formata4j, here timer and scanner, and also pins. I created a separate pins.java file to define the pins that I'll be using for the sensors. So inside this main method, I created a string variable to locate my port, and then there's the myboard IO device object, that's the Grove board, and the scanner object. So here I created a try catch block. So I initialized the board, I initialized the display as well, and I defined the variables for the button, the potentiometer, and the sound sensor, and I also got a timer object. So I created a while loop, which is set to true, so it's always running until the user stops it. And then they would display to the user the menu of the three modes. And these are the three modes. If they don't type the correct string sequence, it would go to else, and the menu would rotate. It would appear again until the user types in the proper mode. And if the user types piano, it takes them to this piano. Well, first piano string access piano, and then I created a task variable. It has 4 input arguments, and there's a timer object schedule, which would run the program. So in this piano file, so I defined some variables here, and I defined gave each variable a value, and in here, the user it receives the value of the potentiometer, and then whenever the user presses the button and the potentiometer is set to 0, and that's how it lowers the octave. Otherwise it would increase the octave, and the octave range is 0 to 8. Okay, so these are the piano keys. If you rotate the potentiometer in a certain range, it accesses these notes, and based on the count, the value of the count variable, it would display the corresponding octave of the note. And the OLED object displays the note onto the screen, and the program plays the note. And if the user presses the button and taps on the sound sensor. The program says stop and it cancels. So musical ear. So moving on to the musical ear mode. So it's the same for input arguments, the same as this one. And I created a schedule for that. So essentially it's the same. The difference is I have two variables here, which contains all the notes, and the other one contains all the notes but in string. Up here's all the same as piano.java. And this is, so here I created an if else statement. The program gets a random integer from a value from 0 to the length of the notes array, takes that number and puts that here, and that's how we get the note. And if the user goes to a certain note and they press the button and the note is the note that was here, the output's correct into the screen and the program stops. If the user wants to stop the program, they can also hold down the button, tap on the sound sensor, it says stopped, and it would stop the program. And listen.java, there's song choices up here. And so it's the same in principle as piano.java or musical ear.java. You rotate the potentiometer at a certain range to access certain songs and displays it on the screen. That's the menu. And then for each note in the array, it would play the note. And that is essentially listen.java. And that is the code of my major project.